nice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice. You better roll them dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll.
Hello, Matt.
Hi, Rob.
And hello, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Dungeon Master of None.
Yes. I'm smiling and I'm trying to be pleasant, Rob. I don't know if you could tell from the sound of my voice, but welcome to our show.
You're doing a very good job. Thank you for being on this call with me.
Oh, great
we have
validation.
a lot of stuff
nice.
to cover, but first, I want to acknowledge all of the hard work that you've done, and I want to relay this information.
That's good
it's
management.
coming from the top, purely informational. And corporate, has this they want you to know, we're really like trying to circle back on our deliverables and really shore up our core competencies, to really bolster our returns. And you are a key part of that, which is why, even though I know that unfortunately, no compensation increases are forthcoming, you are going to be receiving a certificate of participation and appreciation from the CEO himself.
Mr. Wizard of the Coast. Thank you.
Right,
thank you, Rob. And corporate speak aside, or maybe right in the middle, the reason is we are going to serve up some soft skills for you today.
That's
soft
right.
skills is what, like corporate speak for, okay, you're not, it doesn't mean you're like good at Excel or like can program in Python, but you have something else about you that makes you good for the position. And that's super cheesy and sort of sucks, but also like dungeon mastering has a bunch of soft skills. So we thought we'd talk about those.
I mean, soft skills has become a very like popular term and subject in the HR and training and corporate world in the last 10, 15 years, because I think they realized, especially in tech, that they had hired a bunch of engineers, and then if you needed anybody who could talk to people, they hadn't really like hired for that. So there was a big push to hire and train for soft skills, which is a funny thing to call basically everything that you need to like function in society. But
being
that
a
is
person, being a good person,
not even being a good person,
okay to be around.
Yeah, being somebody that other people can tolerate, that is a soft skill. So
I mean, it's a soft skill in DMing. You want to be a person to tolerate, and like any skill, it can be learned and taught, and we're here to teach you. Like, Rob, do you want me to read what the Department of Labor says about soft skills? Because I feel like it was.
I would love for you to tell me what the Department of Labor has to say about soft skills. That would delight me to no end.
Soft skills, the competitive edge. What do employers look for in new employees? According to business leaders, while the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, are still fundamental to every employee's ability to do the job, employers view...
Disagree. I've worked with a lot of people who could neither read nor write nor do arithmetic and did very well for themselves.
Yeah. Employers view soft skills as even more important to work readiness. These skills include professionalism or work ethic, oral and written communication, teamwork and collaboration skills, critical thinking or problem-solving skills. Companies have identified the following competencies as key to the success of young workers in the 21st century workplace.
What
a nightmare world.
What a terrible thing. Though it isn't like a useless category, and it's a good thing to think about, because being a dungeon master actually does you have to be a very soft person. You have to let the soft animal of your body do what it does. And your hard skills, it's funny, Matt. The people who were responsible for creating TTRPGs
Yeah.
D&D at its inception placed a premium on those hard skills, having come from
Right.
the world of wargaming, where soft skills actually don't matter at all. It is, do you know your numbers? Do you know how many hull points a dreadnought has? Do you know what the armor class of a, Nimitz class battle cruiser is, etc.,
I
so on and
do.
so
I think
forth.
it's 2.
But as it turns out, the things that you need to be a good dungeon master, I would argue, fall largely into the soft skills category. And people for a long time have overestimated how many rules you need to know, how good you need to be at math or designing encounters, when the greatest challenges that you face as a dungeon master are going to be around your soft skills. And we will get into the specific examples and scenarios that you will encounter as a DM. But the truth is, I think that you're going to value being able to work with people more than math as a dungeon master, as a game master.
Yeah. I think, I think people think, right, being a good dungeon master is math. And we're going to describe like rules and math as hard skills for our dichotomy. Those are in the game. There's a thing that says in the rule book how to do them. I would also say that like a hard skill is just for our purposes of our discussion is like your creativity, like, hey, writing interesting scenarios, coming up with cool NPCs, mapping interesting locations, creating like fun scenario twists and challenges, all the like create like that's like part of the game. And so we'll like set all of those things aside and just talk about the fuzzy kind of our version of HR stuff that actually is really important.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
The things that are a little bit softer that I enjoy, or that some of us enjoy, the writing, the prep, the creating of encounters and maps, that I think for our purposes, I agree with Matt. We'll count that as a hard skill. That is a concrete thing. The soft skills we're discussing are more interpersonal. And
Right.
yeah, this is not a very like firm distinction, and I don't think you should think of it as that, because remember, this is coming from the world of corporations, where everything is
Yes.
dumber and simpler than it is in real life, but it is not a useless way of thinking about things. So just put the hard skills and the soft skills aside, set them apart, drive a wedge between them, and as we talk about what is what and how to make the best use of it as a dungeon master.
I think two other big things about soft skills, and we've said this in other ways on the show, is that these soft skills, your interpersonal skills, are like the majority, if almost the vast majority of what it takes to be a good game master of a TTRPG. And I think a lot of DM advice, even including our show, often focuses on the hard skills. Oh, here's how to prep a good dungeon. Here's how to write an interesting, compelling ally or villain or something like that. And so a lot of advice focuses on the hard skills when the soft skills are the biggest part of being a GM and are super important.
Yeah, you can go back and listen. The questions that we get most of the time, the most difficult ones, the stickiest ones, are about soft skill stuffs, what to do
Hmm.
with player conflicts or scheduling conflicts, or when to make changes because of how you are feeling about the game. These are all related to your soft skills, and we do answer questions about rules and about planning, but those are a lot easier, in my opinion, to answer, and a lot less of the work, in my opinion, that goes into being a GM.
Anything else to say about the big picture of soft skills before we get like straight to some examples?
Only that this is just very funny, and keen listeners will probably have picked up on, intentional or not. You have this distinction where programming, math, uh, building things with your hands. These are hard skills for men who do
Yeah.
manly things the hard
Men
way.
who are hard.
Men who are hard. But soft skills, that's for ladies. Am I right, Matt? That's for girls. Anyway, there is like, you're not imagining it. There's like an obvious like gender dimension to it.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that, again, Matt and I have both worked in corporate and academic settings, and there's been a real huge push to like get people to take this seriously, because a lot of the people in leadership lack these soft skills, and suddenly many like leadership groups are like, oh fuck, we don't have anybody who knows how to talk to people in this room, and it's causing us problems. You can listen to or talk to or read somebody else for a rundown of the dramatically and disastrously gendered element of the American workplace, or even just sort of like the modern workplace, because it's all American now. But uh, just know that is a huge and very just barely under the surface in this conversation.
Yeah, these skills stink of gender, Rob. They're
They do.
got the
They smack
stink
of gender.
Smack of gender. Sorry.
They smack
All
of
right.
gender.
So let's Rob, show me your soft stuff. What's our first soft skill?
Well, this was interesting. This is in the DOI, or sorry, yeah, the DOL. And you listed this first. Scheduling is a soft skill. Coordinating with people. That is a key and sort of obvious soft skill. It's not, we all of us dungeon masters have to do this, and it is a constant dance. It is a negotiation,
Mhm.
and sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. But even though what you are technically doing is just like aligning calendars, there is an incredible amount of wrangling and wheeling and convincing that goes into getting a game to occur every week or every other week.
Unless you are the magical game master who has a person at your table who does all of this for you, which
Oh,
I'm
what
sure
a
exists.
dream.
I have never met a single other game master who hasn't had to do most of the scheduling, if not all of it. Then you need to be a good scheduler to be a good, or you're never gonna have players at your table. I think. Let's see. How do you? What is the like essential key to scheduling? And I feel like it's, at least from my experience, it's like being annoying. It's like following up immediately. It's like just being the person to be like, hey, can you come or not? Can you come on Wednesdays? Wait, what about Thursdays? It's just like persistence.
Yep. This is the soft skills part of it, because you have to be annoying, you have to pin people down, you have to get answers, and you have to get them sooner rather than later, and then you have to like get everybody to commit, usually in the form of like a calendar invite or some other form of firm.
A
uh
text message,
yeah.
thumbs up.
uh, I'll be there on this day, because again, the getting the time is difficult, sure, whatever. But getting the buy-in and the agreement and making sure that everybody sticks to their commitment, that's the soft skills part of it. And you don't want to overdo it. Well, actually, maybe you do. I
Yeah.
tend to. You really can't overdo it, but you do need to be tactful about this. But you do need to be insistent. You kind of need to be annoying,
Yeah.
because people will bail.
If like in the year 2026, I can't imagine any of my friends, I'm probably in a different spot of life than many of our listeners, being annoyed at receiving a calendar invitation that has the start and end time and the address, so that like when they get in the car they can put it in their phone. Like that would not annoy them. Maybe like a young person who hates emails
Maybe.
Would hate that. I hate emails too. I just learned to bury my hate deep down.
Yeah.
But like, hey,
It's a
to
necessary
get it
evil.
done.
Yeah.
I think the other thing, other than like persistence, it's like, hey, how do you get better at scheduling? Like uh clear writing of like, hey, this is the time, this is what that means, it's every other week, it's every week. Then the other thing beyond persistence that you can do to get better at it is pick a technology and stick with it.
Yeah.
Text messages, emails, calendar invites, when to meet. Take your pick.
This is one area where I think technology has potentially sorry Actually, technology has improved many things for me, but like for all
Rob,
of
would
us,
you
but
doodle? Would you doodle someone?
I no longer doodle. I win to meet these days. I'm a
Wait.
win. I'm a win to meet man.
All right. Yeah.
But I've
Same.
used doodle in the past. But no, doodle and win to meet are actually great. Like they take a lot of the soft skills out of it, but you still have to like poke people and follow up,
Yeah.
and then like once you have a time, you have to commit. I mean, we've answered questions about this, and we've had partial or full episodes about scheduling because it is a significant part of making games happen. But I think the soft skills part of it is being willing to be a little bit of a pest, being consistent, and being organized yourself, right? Obviously, if you can't keep your own calendar, you're not going to be able to keep the whole calendar for a group of people. And I'm not the best at scheduling. I go everywhere I'm supposed to because I'm terrified of getting in trouble if I'm ever not somewhere where I'm supposed to be. So it's not a problem for me, but I don't like to bug people, so I'm not great at scheduling. But the technology that we have just talked about makes it easy. I send reminders, I send a text a few days ahead of time, and I let the chips fall where they may. Usually my games come together. There are
Yeah.
people who are much better than me at scheduling who never have a player miss because they are hounding them for
Right.
confirmation. And you have to sort of like decide how much effort you're willing to put into this, but this is precisely what it means for it to be a soft skill.
Yeah, just an example of you have to stay organized yourself. Like if I hadn't have put like that I'm going to a baseball game next week, I would have I was seconds away from scheduling my next game of Mythic Bastionland during that baseball game. But I had my own calendar organized. It was in there. I checked it. I was like, "Ooh, oh no, wait, we're doing this the week after that." Okay, fine. And then I guess like the way to like get better at hounding people without like just being persistent is to learn people's like preferred method of communication, pay attention to people. Some people might need a phone call. Sorry, Rob, that's me.
That's a good. Here's the thing. I've been learning that about Matt and other of my friends is that if I want a firm commitment from them, I have to call them on the phone. That's
some
fine.
people don't check their emails. It's for like checking their Amazon orders. You need to send them a text, but they will always text back. Everyone has a method of communication that they respond to. Figure out each of your players and make sure to follow up with them on that medium channel thing. Slack them,
Discord them, give them a WhatsApp, whatever works. Don't run yourself ragged trying to like accommodate everybody, but the unfortunate truth is that you will have to do some what is probably annoying or unpleasant work for you. Though this is very interesting, Matt, because when I have been able to offload this to somebody else, we'll talk about delegation later because that's a soft skill. There are a lot of people who don't struggle with this. There are a lot of people who are great at scheduling, and I'm like, man, I wish that you could be. I mean, this is why powerful men have had secretaries since office work became a thing, because a lot of they suck at scheduling. They don't want to do that. That's for ladies, but it's a real and important skill, and not everybody can do it with the same aptitude. And when you meet somebody who's really good at scheduling, really organized, really on top of their calendar, and everybody else's, to me, it's a huge relief. So if you happen to have somebody like that in your game and you think you can delegate to them, do it. And then make sure that you're friends with them forever, because that's a very valuable person to know.
Okay, I think we got scheduling locked down. I'm going to bring up one of our next skills if you're ready. Are you ready for it? All right. Are you soft for it?
I'm soft.
All right. It's I'm soft too. Communication without jargon. I found this on a corporate website. I was like thinking, oh, this actually really does apply to game masters. Yes. Can you tell people stuff like at the table without assuming they know all your special words that you know because you've been reading role-playing game books for the past 10 years?
I had this happen at a game I was running recently. I had a new player, and I dropped roll a d100. I'm looking for under 5. And this person was looking at their 2d10s, and I was like, shit, I'm sorry. Roll those 2 dice, pick one to be the 10s, pick one to be the single digits, and tell me what you get. That was on me. I was not thinking
Yeah.
about, like, that wasn't particularly jargony, but I was still like, oh, I need to adjust my language so they know what they're, because they're perfectly smart enough to understand roll what I was asking them to do. I was using jargon language. And this happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
And you've all probably experienced it. Many of you are probably guilty of it, but this is a very important soft skill. If you've ever been in a meeting or a presentation with somebody who lacks this, it
Yeah.
it's a real
Listen-
pain in the ass.
Listen to someone who is a programmer in a language you can't program in, or a person in the military or in a thing talk for 5 minutes, and you will become bored and confused at the same time. It's a vocabulary, like you can't assume that your players have the same vocabulary. And so it's okay to like say things quickly twice, right? Hey, you're rolling with disadvantage. Hey, this is super risky and more likely to fail. You're rolling with disadvantage. Or, you can take the devil's bargain on this roll, which means there's going to be an extra cost.
This is more important than you think it is. A lot of people, I think, if they are not trained in communication and if they are not good at soft skills, make the mistake of thinking that sounding smart is more important than being understood. And so they either intentionally use jargon or fail to adjust for it. We were talking about vertical videos earlier. I follow this creator on the TikTok that does fitness content, and they're in really great shape, and they do all the things you're supposed to do, just looping videos of looking fit, doing exercises, but they talk in such a way like they're clearly like trained in exercise physiology, and they're using all these insane science terms, which I love because I'm a huge
Right.
stupid nerd. But
Yeah.
every comment is like, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you slow this down? Can like what? Can you start over? I wasn't following it. I don't know if that
Lifting
content
these
is,
things will make you big.
That's right. But that's the thing. That's the people who succeed
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
ones who are like, lift this, do that, eat this. You don't want to talk down to your audience, but you need to meet them where they are. And that's what communication with jargon is about, is knowing the level of communication and the level of jargon to employ, because these are complicated games, even the ones that are not. And you got to learn how to communicate that to your players, especially the ones who are not well versed in TTRPGs.
You're not Faulkner, right?
That's right.
and you're not like lieutenant commander of the sit rep or whatever. You can't use the jargon words. You're talking to simple folk.
That's right. Ordinary people,
Sons and daughters and children of the land. Morons. No, your players are not morons, but jargon can make anyone feel like a moron and create confusion. And so if you want to teach them the jargon and get better, my biggest advice is to say things quickly twice. Say it in a different way. This works for teachers and for like people who are communicating a technical thing, right? You say it once with the jargon, you say it a second time without the jargon, and it clarifies it for everyone.
If you're a smart person, or if you're a person who thinks they're smart, you may find yourself frustrated by this sometimes, and you are just gonna have to put that aside. I still say roll with advantage. That means roll twice and take the better roll, or roll it every single time. Even though my players really ought to know what it means, I still do it. Just because some of them know it, but they don't, and they need to be reminded. And there's always going to be something that you think your players should know, and they don't. And you got to learn. This is what good communication is about: is meeting them where they are.
Yeah, you're playing Fate instead of just saying, "Do you want to tag anything?" Say, "Hey, do you want to tag anything? Are there any aspects of your character that apply to this situation?"
That's
Right?
right.
And then again, once people know the jargon, once they're all special TTRPG operators that are doing
They're in your situation room, and then you can
right,
use the yeah.
then you can use the jargon, but you gotta make sure you can teach
Yeah,
people the
right.
jargon. Also, the jargon of games is like a very special language and doesn't always convey the correct emotions or stuff like that. It's okay. It's fine to like refer to characters as NPCs or something like that, but a little bit of the magic is lost if
Yeah.
you're not just calling them, this person or this character or this creature. And if you pause for a second to look at your manuals, or like what happened last time, think of all of the things that are like NPC special words that have special meaning to only this in-group min max or whatever. There's
Right, right.
maybe set those things aside, and just practice talking normal.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you were trying to run a nuclear reactor, you will probably have to use some jargon. Words
Yeah,
words don't
yeah.
exist that can explain the concepts that are not jargony. That is
If you're
usually
running
not the
5e, you will have to use some jargon, is what we're saying.
I was going to say that's not necessarily the case with a TTRPG, but sometimes it is. But you don't have to use the jargon if there's another better simpler way to say it much of the time.
Which skill do you want to do next, Rob?
Let's talk briefly about this second one because I like it. Time management at the table, time management in general. This is something that I pride myself on. I think I'm very good at it, and
Mm,
all of my games are done in under 3 hours when I want them to be because I run a tight ship, Matt. I
yeah,
things happen at the pace that I want them to. If they aren't, then I cut something, or I say time to move on. Uh, I think some people get the impression that this isn't always appreciated. In my experience, that's not true. Players are fine
yeah,
if you say, "Hey, we're going to move. Sorry, we're spending too long on this. I need to move us on to the next section." This is you can I think it kind of depends on you how you want to do this. Sometimes you're having so much fun, you're just going to let it ride.
yeah,
But you do, I think, need to pay attention and have a rough idea of like how long the game is going to go. Personally, I start to lose focus after 3 hours, whether I'm running it or playing in it. So that's why my games are 3 hours long every single time. And so I keep that in mind as I am running the game. You can be more flexible if you want to run a longer game or if you want to run a shorter game. But even if you have lots of time management, I think, is really, really important. And it is a soft skill because it means, if nothing else, keeping an eye on the clock and being willing to say, okay, you have to make a decision. Let's go.
yeah. I mean, if like in the stupid corporate world, time management is like productivity management and stuff like that.
Ugh.
In TTRPGs, it's like fun management, right?
Yeah.
If people are having fun and you know this for sure, you say, "Hey, we've been discussing this for 30 minutes. Is everyone still having fun?" And they're like, "Yes, this is really important. We have to
That's
get
time
this right."
management. That's
Perfect.
the soft
That's
skill. That's
that's
perfect.
that's the
Yes.
soft skill. So they're having fun, so we want to keep this going long, and I'll then cut this other part short.
Right.
It's a lot of like getting feedback. If it's time management of yourself, right? There are like lots of
Yes.
little tricks you can do. Wear a watch, set a timer for every 30 minutes that only buzzes in your pocket. So you know, hey, I'm now 1/6 of the way through my 3 hour block. That's just a reminder for where I am. Because you can like easily get lost and you're like, oh shit, this happens to me. Oh, 2 hours have gone by. I thought we've only been playing for 45 minutes. Again, that can be fine if it's fun, but if that's not where you wanted to be, then setting that little timer is a nice trick.
Hmm. Wear a watch, set a timer. The timer's a good idea anyway. Plan a break halfway through, uh, have it go off just to remind you to check in, as long as it's not disruptive. Whatever you need, some people have legitimate time blindness. If you are such a person,
Yeah.
then you're probably used to setting timers anyway. You can do as much or as little as you want. Like I said, if you have a lot of time and it doesn't super matter and everyone's having fun, let it ride. But try to be aware of the time just for your own benefit, because it helps you plan and helps you make sure that your session is running the way that you intend.
Yeah. As as the French 75 told us, time is a construct, right?
That's right.
Or as Douglas Adams said, time is an illusion. We're not programmed to notice the passage of time, but
Right.
like if you want, if it's important to your table that the game makes some kind of like progress, then these things can be really helpful. The other two like tricks that I always have in my back pocket that are, I think, don't require a lot of practice, they just require implementation, which is the first, if you need to like move the group on to something, you can give everyone a warning first, so it's not so abrupt and you don't feel
Yes.
like such an asshole, and your players won't think you're such an asshole. You can say, hey, we're gonna move on for this in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Is it 15? Do we need 15? Do we need 2?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Instead of just saying, hey, everyone, we're moving on. Don't do that.
Yes.
The second, and Rob, I'd love your thoughts on this, is the biggest complaint I see from people on the internet, not necessarily my table, is that just some people, not me ever, at the table take too long to decide and do things. How do you handle this aspect of time management, the problem time people?
We have talked about this before, and it's been a while since I've had one of these players in my games, but I have had those players. And I think I gave this advice early on in the podcast, but what I did was I said, "Hey, I'm going to start putting a minute timer on everybody's turns."
Okay.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
change the amount, but I was like,
Yeah.
here's the thing. You can say it like this. This isn't targeting anybody. We're just taking too long. So everybody gets a
Right.
minute to decide. And like, that's fair. The person may feel targeted anyway, but like that's the best way to do it. And there's also like nothing I think wrong with that for a game
Yeah.
like 5e. Especially you're like, listen, combat's taking too long. I need everyone to sort of like tell me what they're doing within a minute. I'll give you like, a little bit of leeway if you're really like struggling. But that's an important time management skill to use. And if you are still running, especially a game like 5e or 3.5, not even really like 3.5 Pathfinder, where it can take a long time, it is okay for you to say, I'm putting a time limit on how long your turns take because it's just taking too long. Uh, that's a soft skill.
Yeah. I I think one other way to approach this is give yourself a sticky note on the back of your screen or in your notes to mindfully observe your players on this. You probably don't even need to do this. You know who the players are who suffer from analysis paralysis, who
Yes.
take forever to think through things out loud, who, when they do their turns in a combat heavy action game, just take forever. There can be a hard solution to this, switching the rules to a different kind of system. But I think the one other soft approach is, if you know who those people are, you can always have a conversation with them, but you can also just forefront that, this is coming up. Just as a reminder, a person who is slow, it's going to be your turn in next. So please decide what you're going to have to do. And then we go back to this person, and now it's your turn. And are you ready? Okay, great. Do that. And then we're done. Perfect. Right. Usually the people who take a long time just need like some kind of like warning. Right.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
always, but often.
It helps. I've done this with groups too that would get as a group paralyzed by conversation, and I would say, okay, this decision doesn't need to be like a huge deal. You have 5 minutes to discuss. At the end of that, you need to decide. If it's a big one, I'll be like, okay, you guys can spend 15, 20 minutes talking about this, but like after that, I need a decision. And hopefully you won't have to be that firm, but I have found that people don't mind and maybe even appreciate that, especially because I don't think that most groups who get in, or people who get in this analysis paralysis actually like love it. And I think they often appreciate some help getting out of it. But that is time management. And that's important. All right, let's move on to another one.
Okay, the one I want to bring up next is getting a little farther afield here. Obviously, there's, like we said, DM skills, soft skills, most of this job. So it's almost everything. But one that I want to bring up that maybe people haven't thought about is networking. Networking is described as our corporate overlords. It's so important. But I think networking is important for a DM too. Like, otherwise, how are you going to find people to play your next game? How are you going to find people to play a different game that some of the people at your table don't like? How are you going to introduce new people, make new friends if you don't have networking?
This is, I think, a very important and possibly underappreciated skill for a GM. I do not play with the same group of people that I played with 5 or 10 years ago. And I met a lot of my players through my existing players or through other people in the hobby, or just because I was talking about what I did. I have not always been great at networking personally, but I've tried to get better because the more people that I meet, the more potential players that I have, the more people I have to play in their games. And I have a bigger pool to draw from if I want to try a new game or I want to play test something, which is something that I'm doing more and more of. And it really helps to have a big network for that. It's been a big help in running my open table game because I just have like a lot more people to invite. And so even though I try to be good about scheduling, when multiple of them bail, it's not as big of a deal because I have a bigger network of people to draw from. This is just a nice thing to be able to do and to have in your back pocket, just as you continue to run games and be a game master.
And like now we're getting like, hey, how do you get good at this? Like there are a billion like tips out there from the professional side on how to network. Most of them skip over the like core of this is that to network it's called like being friends and
Being
nice to
friends.
people.
Yes.
So this is an important skill. You can get better at being like someone people want to know and hang out with. It often involves doing things and hanging out with people in situations that are not gaming, but not always. You could probably accomplish this solely through gaming.
Yeah, I mean, the way that networking works in real life is, yeah, you basically make friends, which is easier said than done, right? If it were that easy, then everyone would do it. But the way that you do that in real life is you attend events or go to occasions uh, where maybe it's not your thing, or maybe it's not a thing that you were planning to go to, and you introduce yourself or you accompany somebody who you are sort of friends with. You put yourself ever so slightly outside of your comfort zone when you say hello to some people. In the gaming world, you can do this at a convention. You can go join somebody else's pickup game. You can get on a Discord or a mailing list. I find actually that when it comes to gaming, it's really easy.
Yeah,
Relatively,
it's gotten
people,
easier.
it's gotten easier.
There are
People,
local cons and like local gaming discords in about every
yeah,
major city.
there's like 2 or 3 for Portland, and people want people to play in their
Well,
games.
that's Portland.
That's Portland. They want to play in your game. They want people to play in their games. They want to try new things. There's always somebody. And look, you're gonna get. I want to be honest here. You're gonna get burned sometimes. You're gonna meet some
Yeah.
people who are not great, who you do not want to be
In
a
your network
with.
at all. You're like, hey, you're out of network. Sorry.
But I have met a lot of like good friends from just going to conventions and or through another friend who's like, hey, my friend is running a game, or hey, my friend is having an unrelated event. Come to do this. Uh, Again, this is not easy for everybody, and if you are socially awkward or introverted, it is work. It is one of those soft skills, but
All of these soft skills are work. Sorry. Yes.
but it can be
But-
learned, and it does get easier, I guess is the thing. It's like, this is not something that is, look, there are some people who are obviously like naturals at it. Matt's great at it, by the way.
Sure.
I am less naturally good, but it's also like, it's a thing that you can learn. You know, it's a thing that can be practiced and gets easier with practice.
Rob frightens and scares people. He has to win them over with his handsome face.
That's right.
and,
I have to not talk too loud
big
or too
arms. Yeah.
because, like, I scare people away.
No, that's not true. But okay, like if you're
Yeah.
a systems brain person, which that both Rob and I are, like think
We are.
about it this way: there are people you don't know. There are known unknowns. There are unknown unknowns. There are people you
right.
don't know, and there are people that like you like met. They're acquaintance. Oh, hey, we played a game of Wingspan that I didn't know you and you didn't know me. And then hey, if you're like trying to bring them in a network, if they seem cool, if they seem like they don't suck, if you think you'd like to have them at your table, then think about it as a system. They're in that like acquaintance network, or I've met them.
Right.
Let's do an activity to bring them into friend network. Maybe it's playing a second game of Wingspan where I actually talk to them. Okay, now they're in friend network. Okay, now I can bring them into like core part of the game group, right? So think of it as concentric circles of sucking people into your
to your
life.
to your network. I mean, it's almost embarrassing, Matt, but that's exactly how I think about it, because I'm like, okay, I had a conversation.
Rob
with
has
these
the
people.
Terminator vision.
Yeah.
It shows their current status.
I had a conversation
Acquaintance.
with these people. They're normal. Let's play a board game together. Let's see how
Yeah.
normal they are. And then
Yeah.
if they like they're in that and that works, then like, okay, maybe I'll invite them over to dinner with Alex. And then they're friends, you know. But like that you can systematize it. There's no one will get mad at you for that.
No.
Don't make a spreadsheet and show people, but like
don't show people the spreadsheet. That's where it gets weird. Keep the spreadsheet if that's your jam. Just don't tell everyone about it all the time. Like, yeah, it's and again, an important part of networking is like being there for people. And not like
Yes.
saying like you have to pick them up from the airport or move their fucking couch. But like, hey, if they're like, oh yeah, I am really into playing Splendor. Oh, I'll play a game of Splendor with you.
Right.
Or like, oh, I'm really into, pickleball. Sure, I'll play a game of pickleball with you, or like, hey, I'll talk to you about the thing you're interested in. Right. Again, these are
Right.
broad life skills, but they can all be acquired.
Yes. This can be learned, and it'll make everything easier. You know, these are the people you meet who also may help you with your game. These are people who could help with scheduling or bringing snacks or bringing new people in. One thing that has happened to me is I have made friends with people who are great networkers and recruiters themselves, and they do a lot of the work for me because they're enthusiastic about like, hey, come play in this game with Rob. That's always great because like I'm not a great self promoter. So the work you do for networking will make it so that you have to do less work in other areas later.
I mean, this is the way like getting jobs usually works and actual
Yes.
professional networking, but it does have advice for like friendships and your gaming network too, is when you meet new people, 80% of the time, they're not going to be interested in playing a role-playing game or giving you a job or whatever.
Right,
However, there is a chance that they know someone who will give you a job or join your game. And so you've got to, you can start small, you can kind of float it and bring it back in like a regular conversation. But an important part of networking is the ask. Like, hey, we're friends, we hang out, we love playing Wingspan together. You said you weren't interested in playing Daggerheart, but do you have anyone who you think would be down with that? Do you know anyone who's cool who would do that? And the chances are yes, they will.
Yeah,
but you got to be their friend first, right?
You got to be their
ask
friends.
strangers. So just
or at least a friendly acquaintance. You got to be
or a friendly.
A little bit better than a just a known
unknown. All right, Rob, let's talk. I think you know the one we should talk about next. It's super important soft skill.
This is there's not a lot to say about this except that it's important, and that's delegation. And this
Rob,
is
I delegate you to tell me why this is important.
Delegation accepted. This is, I think, also like easier said than done, but it's important to remember. I have to remind myself this, that you can ask people to do things. You can ask people to help you. And you know what? I read a really interesting paper on this. People like it when you ask them to do things. People like it
Yeah, they
when you
really
ask
do.
them for help. It makes them feel important. It
As
makes
long as they
them-
don't have somewhere else to be. If they're stuck with you,
as long as
they
it's
might
the
as well
right-
be doing something.
as long as it's the right thing to ask, right?
Yeah.
Or it's a reasonable ask, But like if you ask for help and it's an easy thing for them to say yes to, for example, if you have somebody who's good at scheduling and you say, "Hey, would you mind being a scheduler?" Or you have somebody who's always drives past the grocery store on the way to your game, and you ask them, "Would you mind picking up a bag of chips?"
Or if you have someone who's good at building characters and asking them to help the person who is not.
If you have somebody who's good at taking notes, I almost always, this one's an easy one. I almost
Yeah.
always have somebody who's good at this and likes doing it. And I'm like, will you please take notes for this session? That's an easy ask. Learning to do this. and learning
This
to
is
write-
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt
No,
you, Rob,
interrupt,
but this is the perfect example for how to start with delegation, because note taking on a session, if it's something you want at your games, is like the easiest one to do and the one you will always find someone who wants to do it.
Yes.
So start there.
Almost always somebody in the group who's happy to do it. Another easy one is like, hey, will you keep track of loot? And that person just needs to make a list and maybe distribute it at some point. And that's an easy one that somebody is usually willing to do.
Find your most acquisitive player.
Find the one that's the most banker like, and make them
Look for monocles.
yeah.
Glance around your table. Is anyone wearing a top hat? Ask them to keep track of loot.
This is a hard one because you may not have somebody to delegate to at first, but looking for, identifying, and being able to ask for that help is very important and can make your life a lot easier.
The other like skill to do for some people with delegation is learning how to let go. And you can let go in steps, right? You can say, someone's taking notes on the session. It's not me keeping track of everything that happened. And then you can let go of it in steps. During the bathroom break in the middle of the session, you can say, hey, can I look over the notes to refresh? And if they're not to your liking, you can pick someone else. Or you could be like, hey, will you just make sure to record like which NPCs we talk to? That's the big thing I need to like have in the notes for this session. Or you can do like little check-ins, so you have if your problem is letting go of control of things, then let go of control slowly. That's how you learn this delegation skill.
This is good advice. I struggle with this. Pick a thing that isn't, like, try to be objective. Like, it's not important or it's not critical and you have other things to focus on, and give that task to somebody else. And yeah, if you don't love it, you can change, but like learn to accept those results. This is good practice. You will find in gaming as in life that being able to do this at least a little bit will make your life a lot easier. I asked Matt to do something this week that I had fun doing it, but I was fiddling with some dice math, and Matt's really good at it, and I was like, Matt, can you do this? And he did.
Guess
A
what?
way
It made
better
me
job.
feel good. It made me feel
'Cause-
good too.
because he's good.
I felt value. Valued.
And I was like, oh, I should have just asked Matt to begin with, because even though I sort of enjoyed it, he did a good job of it. And I could have just asked. And you probably have some people in your group who are as good at some things as you are and would appreciate being asked. You don't have to do everything yourself.
Anything else we want to say about the essential skill of finding delegates? Caucuses
ask.
are important.
Just ask.
Super delegates are not.
Yeah.
Are always good too. Find those winner take all states, I think.
Yeah. Focus on those.
So we won't have time to get to every soft skill in the world, because again, soft skills are like, hey, are you like a cool dude?
Do you know how to talk to people without them getting upset? That's a soft skill.
But I think, speaking of that, I think one that underlies most of these and underlies like most of DMing is empathy and friendliness. So should we talk about that one?
Let's talk about empathy, because some of our overlords would like you to believe that empathy is a weakness, that empathy, that toxic empathy is why the West is in decline.
Oh yeah.
I shouldn't have to tell you how utterly deranged that is as a statement, but the truth is that not that things have to be valuable or strong to be worthwhile, but like empathy is a
Rob, when
strength.
did empathy start? The general crisis of the late 70s, right? That's when people started talking about
That's when they
empathy,
started
and
thinking
that's
about
the oil shock.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
combined with the
Blame
the,
this all
the
on Reagan.
larger like business cycle, and then boom, everything for the West went down. That was
Yeah.
the first time people ever thought about empathy, and
Nobody had ever had empathy before that moment.
yes,
No, I mean the thing is that this is a cooperative endeavor. This is a game that we're playing together with people, right? It doesn't work unless you have people there. If you don't want people, there are many video games to play, and many people do because it's easier than working with people. But if you like this hobby, and many of us do, it really helps to be empathetic. It helps you to identify when somebody is having fun, when they're not having fun, when they're upset, when they are having a good time, when they're having a bad time. It is not your responsibility as the game master to like make sure that everybody is happy all of the time, but it is part of the practice of running the game to try to pay attention to your players' enjoyment of it and work with that. That will make them have more fun and it will make you have more fun. But to do that, you have to be empathetic, which means being able to identify and respond to people's feelings as they occur.
what if you are bad at reading people's like social cues and emotions and stuff like that? Everyone is bad at some of that. Some people are bad at all of it, and that's just the case for some people. I think you know if you are bad at it, and if you know you are one of those people who is bad at it for whatever reason, then you have to do some things differently. It means sometimes you have to ask, right? And it's okay to ask. No one minds like being asked. Hey, are you having a good time? Are you upset? Are you having fun? Right? It's
Yes.
okay to do a quick check in. And guess what? Those people probably also know that you are not good at reading those social cues. So it's okay to ask.
Yeah. This does happen, and I know some people who are somewhere on the autism spectrum who really can't do this, or really can't do it just by like looking at faces, and they are still
It
entirely
goes
capable.
the other way too. Some of your players at your tables will have like an unreadable face, and
Yeah,
then
that's right.
everyone's
Some
got
people
to
actually
ask.
are
That's fine.
really. I'm actually very good at this, and I have
Yeah,
people
you
at my
are.
tables who I'm like, I have no idea what you're thinking, man. I
Rob
can
is a
like
liar. He has a
I
liar's face.
I do have a liar's face. I'm very comfortable lying. So, but Matt makes a great point. A good soft skill, and I think you've been picking up on this. Hopefully, listeners, is communication, because I you aren't going to be able to tell what your players are feeling all of the time
Mhm.
just by intuition, even if you are some sort of like mastermind poker player. You will have to ask, and it is okay to ask, and it's good to get in the habit of asking. You might not have to ask as often as you get more comfortable with your players, but especially when you're starting out or like on breaks, be like, hey, how's this going? Are we having fun? Was that last thing we did too heavy? Is it too many jokes? Just ask. You can just ask, and most people will tell you the truth because everybody wants is there to have a good time, and they will say, yeah, that was good, or maybe less of that next time. And that's really all that's like necessary. Uh, the empathy part is caring, right? Like
Right. There's the key.
there are some people
You have
who
to
can
care
who,
about the people at your table
that's right.
to some degree. You don't
Th-
have
there,
to they
there,
don't have to be like your inner circle. That's
that's
okay.
right.
But you do have to
That
care about them.
there are also people who are really good at reading emotions and then use that power to hurt people. That's not like
That's cool.
that's that's Walter White. That's how you get to be a cool anti-hero. No,
Yeah.
the only the not, it doesn't end with like recognizing emotions. It's how you deal with the emotions once you are aware of them. That's
Yeah.
the empathy part. Is what do you do with that information? You don't have to look. Some people are difficult, and you may not ever be able to make them happy, or they may get upset, and actually it turns out they were upset about something else, and you don't have to like beat yourself up or change your game for it. So like be aware of that. But if your players are telling you, hey, I don't like this, or hey, I do like this, that is information that you can use and should probably try to accommodate within reason.
The caring part is a real big picture thing too, right? It applies at the table, but it's also like, hey, understanding that if someone doesn't want to play Magic Elf game, it's depending on your relationship, and it's okay to like check in. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
What's going on? Talking to people about and showing interest and demonstrating interest in their lives beyond your table, being their friend, right? Being nice to them, right?
Yes,
is
that's
is
right.
super super important to having a fun
Yes.
game, because at the end of the day, however bad your like session goes, right? This is like my great fear of being a DM, is that if you're like friends with people, they're still not going to care. So I'm like,
Yeah.
do you want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
even have fun, or are they just being nice to me? That's a I think a good problem to have, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fine. So if you can get people that like and demonstrate how, like, be a good friend to them, then everything is gonna go okay.
Yeah. Listen, I think that you should care and be nice to people because they're people. But
Yeah,
if that's not a good
that's
enough reason
great
for
point.
you, no, but genuinely, even if that's not
Yeah.
like personally motivating to you, one thing I sort of like I get confused about when I run into like these like proud, asshole, abrasive, usually guys, is like just being nice to people makes your life a lot easier. Like being friendly, being empathetic, listening to people, paying attention, trying to even like pretend to accommodate their feelings makes them like less combative and difficult with you, makes them more likely to try to like meet you where you are. Uh, like it's a good thing to do in life, but in games, because unless you really enjoy the constant Sturm und Drang of human interaction, if you want every day to be like a clash of wills, uh, it's just like way better to just be nice and empathetic to people. You don't have to go out of your way. You don't have to like you don't have to be a doormat, but like just yeah. I don't just make it easier for yourself. Is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
really. I mean, listen, being a game master of a role playing game is being a weird kind of dude, being a weird little freak, right? We
Yeah.
all recognize that running role playing games is weird and
It's weird.
fun, and a thing that it will, I think, always be a minority activity among human societies. But like the number of game masters that I've encountered in my earlier life and in at conventions and stuff, who make no effort at being friendly or empathetic or interested in the people at their tables is massive. And so by just putting the effort in to be friendly and nice to people, puts you puts you in the top quartile of dungeon masters. I will say it.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. It's again, the bar is pretty low here. You can go a long way by just putting in a little bit of effort, and your players will appreciate it.
We're all weird little freaks, but if you're a friendly weird little freak, you're gonna do well at
You
this
do well.
activity.
Okay, there's a lot more soft skills, and
Oh, there's so many. Maybe we'll have to come back to
maybe
this.
we'll do a part two. But there's you wrote a good thing down here at the bottom, which I think is
Mm,
important
yeah.
to think about, and that is
Closing thought.
leaning on your best soft skills. So everybody's, I think, good at something. Everybody has some of these in some measure, and some people have lots of them, and some people have a little bit. And you can, in the same way that you can sort of play the type of game that you like to play, if you aren't as good at math, you may not want to do a like rules heavy crunchy game, and you would prefer to do one that's more story based. In the same way, you can lean on like what you're good at, like with your soft skills. I mentioned that I'm not a great salesperson. It makes me feel kind of like, it makes me feel bad. I don't like it in like personal and professional life. So it's nice when I can have somebody else describe my game or what I'm doing instead of me, because they don't have the same compunctions that I do. And I have friends like this who I can have do that for me, whereas I'm good at some of the other parts of actually like running the game. And so I don't press myself over trying to sell it to people. I focus on doing the things that I'm good at and hoping that the other stuff I can delegate or takes care of itself.
Yeah, this is the same advice that we've given just about game mastering in general, is lean on the things that are fun for you and that you feel like you're good at. And with your soft skills, lean, if you're really good at scheduling, lean on that and do it really well. If you're really good at listening to people, lean on that and do it well. You don't have to be, the one thing we don't want people to take away from this is that you have to be the like most cheerful, empathetic, professional, put together person to be a good DM. No, you just have to do some of those okay.
Right. We are not saying, and listen, some people I think play games to get away from this stuff. And
Yeah.
no one is saying that you have to be on all the time. You have to be super friendly. You have to be cheerful. You have to be, glad handing all the time. You can pick and choose. You can do what's good for you, but it's good, I think, to push yourself a little on some of these things. I've already described a bunch of stuff that I am not naturally gifted at and that I find kind of like a little bit of a stretch that has been good for me to do. So pushing yourself a bit, if these are not naturally things that you're good at or comfortable with, is worthwhile, but don't feel like you have to, you don't have to become some kind of smarmy salesperson. You can choose what's good for you.
Choose what's good for you. Focus on learning one new thing at a time is always a good way to do it. And then, like myself, if you want my final tip, is every morning after you brush your teeth in the mirror for about 30 minutes, just repeat to yourself, just be normal. Just be normal. And that'll make you into a very normal and cool person that everyone likes.
A very, very normal person. Watch the first 5 minutes of American Psycho and then do exactly what Christian Bale does.
Right.
And then
don't watch any of the rest.
Yeah.
And you can always, this won't help you improve your soft skills in any ways, but will support the show. You head over to patreon.com/Dungeon Master of Known. $5 a month gets you a bunch of bonus episodes.
That's right. If you want to practice your soft skills on some other nerds, you can join our Discord. You can also look out for DM of None on socials, Blue Sky, YouTube, elsewhere. Link in the show notes. As always, thanks for listening, everybody, and keep rolling them dice.
I am Dungeon Master.
You better roll them dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice.